Welcome to the It Girl Podcast, where we discuss living life like the It Girl. Our host, Erica Passy, brings on different guests to talk about their perspectives on all things It Girl lifestyle. She covers topics such as wellness, fashion, travel, and current It Girl trends. And now your host, Erica.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the It Girl Podcast. This is where we talk about all things It Girl, from travel to fashion to social media trends, and of course we discuss some of our favorite It Girls of the moment. This is made possible by the CLU podcasting class and studio, of course. And today we are going to be talking about one of my favorite topics. And it's just the concept of living life to the fullest. Essentially, that's like doing whatever you want, accomplishing your dreams, so on and so on. But this is just one of my favorite topics because I feel like I have always lived to the standard of trying to live my life to the fullest. I think this all started for me, honestly, because growing up, I would read a lot of books, I would watch a lot of movies or TV shows, and I sort of started to romanticize my life, essentially. I love the idea of just, pushing for your dreams, living life to the fullest, doing what you want, and honestly sort of being delusional. And I think that for the It Girl, I think she is the type of person who pursues her dreams fully. I think that she does what she wants and she accomplishes her goals. The keynote there is that you also have to have, some goals. And it's a balance of working hard, dreaming big, but also, being a bit delusional. And I actually captioned one of my recent Instagram posts, stay delusional, babe. And that had a few different meanings for me, of course, just as anyone's caption can have multiple different meanings. But part of it is just, if you want to live the life that you actually dream of, you kind of have to be delusional. You kind of have to pretend that you're already living that life or that you're already in the role that you want to achieve. And so that's why I think delusion can sometimes be a form of manifestation. And I'll have another episode in my podcast that you'll be able to hear all about manifestation, because I'm going to talk about that more in depth in another episode. But I think living life delusionally, honestly, is like kind of like setting your intentions, putting it out into the world, and it manifests. Because eventually, if you live your life in a way that you have been dreaming, then it just becomes your reality. And so my first occurrence of this kind of like happening, and some people might call this topic also like girl bossing. And so I feel like my first ever occurrence of this happening for me was when I was probably like 8 or 9 or 10. I really, really, really wanted an iPad. And so I worked really hard, as, like an 8-year-old would, and I had a lemonade stand. And I, of course, had help from some of my, the adults in my life. They were definitely trying to get their friends to come and get the lemonade and all that stuff. But I was doing the work, I was making the money, and then I was also doing chores around the house, helping out neighbors with their chores. And eventually I did get my iPad. And so I think it was just ingrained in me from when I was younger, that to be able to achieve your dreams, you do have to work hard. You just really have to put in the work, but you also do have to dream big. And so then the second time that I can remember something big like this occurring for me was when I got my dream car. And so I remember reading this book, I think it's called Paper Princess, and that was in high school. And I remember at the time I was about to turn 16, and I was probably like 15 at this point. And I just was not sure at all what kind of a car I wanted, but I had been saving up practically like for years to be able to get my dream car. And then I read this book, and they were talking about a car called a Range Rover, and I was like, what's a Range Rover? So I looked it up, instantly fell in love with it. Crazy price though, so that was a little bit, it was intimidating, but I stayed delusional and I kept dreaming big. I kept saving up my money, and today I drive a Range Rover. And so it's all about, staying delusional, putting your dreams out into the universe, but also working hard, and you will be able to achieve your dreams. After that, I have achieved other goals, such as I was able to fund my own trip to Thailand, where I traveled for 2 weeks with 2 of my best friends, one of them being my boyfriend. And I was able to fully fund it by myself. Of course, it does take a lot of hard work and a lot of time, a lot of dedication. So all throughout college, I have always had a job. I've been a full-time student, had a part-time job. At one point, I was a restaurant manager, and so that did hold a lot of responsibility for me. And so oftentimes it can be a lot, it comes with a lot of pressure, but if you keep thinking about your goals and how you'll feel once you achieve those goals, it's all totally worth it. And so one thing, when thinking about travel specifically, I feel like a lot of people don't think it's attainable because they're terrified of the money aspect of it. They think, I worked this hard and, I could use this money for something that's maybe a little bit more practical. Sure, you can put it towards your tuition. That's also a great goal. You can put it towards a new car, amazing goal, all that. But I think for me, one of my main mantras is money comes and goes. And I totally stand by this, because honestly, you have to spend money to make money. And I think that experiences, they last forever. So that's why recently I have stopped spending my money so much more on material goods, but I rather spend it on experiences. And of course, this is all relative to whoever you are. You might love your material goods, you might love retail therapy, then go ahead and do that. But in my opinion, I think travel is one of the best dreams you could have and one of the best goals you can have. And it is so attainable if you just think about how money does come and go. Sure, I did spend, I think my Thailand trip was about $2,000 for the full 2 weeks, and I've already made that money back easily just because I work hard. And as long as you work hard, you honestly don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about as much of the money problems. Of course, this could also be taken as a privileged standpoint. It all varies, per person. But I think if you're willing to work hard and put in the work and sacrifice, then I think anything is really achievable, as well as if you're delusional. So how did I get past my fears that come with this mentality? I only invest in things that I know will make me happy for a long time. So experiences, they make me happy because I can think back on them. I can really cherish my memories. But also, I also invested obviously in my car. I knew that that car would last me, a long, long time. And it's the best car ever in my opinion. I still love it now, years later. Also, if I am gonna purchase a material good, I try to make sure it's quality, just because then I know that it'll last me a long time. I try to make sure that, because I used to actually participate in fast fashion, which is really bad. I now understand that. But before, when I would participate in fast fashion, the clothes just, they didn't really do it for me, they would either break or, I would only wear them a few times. But now when I actually invest in quality clothes, they make me feel so much better, so much more confident, and they'll last me a decade or whenever. I could even pass them on to my future daughter, It's also, it just has to do with training yourself to think in a way that others see as delusional. Just like confidence, it takes a lot of training to be able to adapt a certain type of mentality. And I feel like being delusional, you definitely have to kind of, train yourself to become delusional, and it can be hard, but it's doable if you, I don't know, if you like consume the right kind of content on TikTok. Sometimes it can be very inspirational, but you can also read books about manifestation and listen to a podcast about manifestation. There's a lot of outlets. I'm also just like, I'm able to now convince myself that I should chase my dreams and achieve all my wildest desires, because I could die tomorrow. Like, literally nothing is guaranteed. So like, when it comes to travel, why work your whole entire life just for retirement, when like, you could drop dead the year that you retire and then you never would have traveled. So that's why I decided to take my Thailand trip last year, because I thought, I could literally die in a car crash tomorrow. I could die on the plane ride over to Thailand, but like, nothing is guaranteed. But if I put my money into it now, like, at least I know that I had those experiences. It might not financially set me up as well for like purchasing a house, paying off my tuition and all that, but it's one of my dreams, and I wanted to be able to achieve it before it was honestly too late, And so it's like the same thing also with material goods. Why wait your whole life to be able to purchase your dream car when you can just sacrifice a few months or years of good budgeting and hard work for it? It all just comes down to hard work, understanding about money and how to budget, and then you can achieve your goals. And so, how else can we really work on achieving our goals? I try to think super rationally and save money by budgeting and framing, but what I mean by this is that I will frame my mindset in a way where, if, let's say, a coworker asks me, hey, do you want to get Starbucks? I'll be like, oh no, sorry, like, I'm good. And that's because I'll think about, like, recently I've been thinking about my Euro summer, and I think about, oh, like, do I really want Starbucks right now? Or do I want to spend that $6 on like a macchiato in Italy or a crepe under the Eiffel Tower, like, and so I frame it in that way. And that's like honestly one of my best budgeting tricks. I think about that when I think about, oh, like, do I want to buy this like pair of shoes right now? Or do I want to just see if maybe I can find a really cute pair of shoes in Spain, like, it could be anywhere. So that's one of my best tips for that. But I also, again, looping back to being delusional, I try to trust that everything will work out. As long as I work hard, I truly believe that everything will work out eventually. I think the universe definitely works in mysterious ways. And this, like, for anyone who just doesn't understand it, this all sounds probably so stupid and so delusional. But I just truly believe that money comes and goes, and I can't stress about my money like this much. Otherwise, then I feel like if you put that stress onto it, then you're gonna keep accumulating the issues, because it's a law of attraction. But if you spend the money on experiences that you enjoy and they bring you positive light and they make you happy, then the money will come back to you and give you more experiences. And so I think one of my favorite ways to also stay motivated in this sense and keep up with this mentality is by listening to some of the audios that are on TikTok. There are some great TikTokers that will create audios that really put you into this like mindset, and this specifically does tend to happen more with travel audios, where they'll say like, oh, money comes and goes, but there was that one trend. Yeah, it was money comes and goes, but I'll never be 20 years old floating in the coast of Amalfi again. Like, it was something like that, the trend last summer. And so I truly love those motivational TikToks, and I believe that they really help me push towards this mindset. But that does wrap up my delusions for the day. I don't have anything more to say about that. And so you can come back for more future episodes where I'll be discussing more about social media, confidence building, a lot of other It Girl concepts. And you can find all of my past episodes and future episodes at the link in my bio on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok where you can see some of my content, and you can find me on YouTube at It Girl Podcast. My Instagram and TikTok are both ERIIKA.3. And so if you click the link in my bio, it's the third tab called It Girl Podcast, and that's where you'll be able to find my Mixcloud. But thank you for all tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the It Girl Podcast, a production of the CLU podcasting class. We appreciate all of your support and would love it if you would reach out to Erica on all social media platforms. You can find her on Instagram and TikTok at ERIIKA.3. Reach out and let her know what you would like to hear about next, or send in ideas for current trends you would like her to discuss. Thanks again. Look forward to talking to y'all next time.